it's Kirsten. Today is Bi Visibility Day, or yesterday by the time I post it, and I'm here today to talk to you about bi visibility and books, because this is the channel where I talk about books. Hi, for those of you who don't know, I'm bi. I'm also poly, which means I'm more visible than a lot of bi people. If you're bi and monogamous, then people tend to just look at who you're with and assume that defines you. Well, I'm not defined by who I'm with, and you are not defined by who you're with. Okay? Probably know I'm bi and poly, so it's easy for me to be visible because I have partners of more than one gender identity. But I was thinking about what it means to be visible. Like, it's okay for me if I'm out with my husband and our girlfriend. Like, people are going to look at us and they're going to know. But I was thinking about books like The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue, which is great. It has a bi main character. It's a romance. It's brilliant. It's all about how the characters are queer. And I was thinking that's not the kind of visibility we want. Sure, it's great. I'm not knocking it. I love that sometimes there are books with main characters. Take the Magnus Chase series by Rick Riordan. Now, Riordan actually I think is really great for having visibility at all levels in his characters. And the Magnus Chase series has Apollo, who describes at one point that he would be pansexual, except he's really not attracted to Pan, just everyone else. So, yeah, I mean, Rick Riordan's great. He's got a diversity of characters in all sorts of ways. He's got in all sorts of ways, not just sexuality, and I think that's great. But what I'm talking today about the sort of series where you're never surprised to discover that someone's bi or queer or straight or however they happen to identify. The sort of world where, like the one we live in, bi people are everywhere and it's just normal. I read A Trifle Dead by Olivia Day, which is a cosy murder mystery set in a Hobart cafe, and I just was like, this is amazing. This book is full of characters who are like me, who are like my friends, they're real people. Because I don't know whether you ever have this, you read a book and you're like, are there that many straight people in the world? Do there really have that prevalence of straight people? That doesn't seem right. And it really kind of distracts me from what's going on. So if I know that there's a diversity and that everybody isn't the same cookie cutter perfect person, it just feels a bit more realistic to me. So what I'm going to talk about now is series, so I'm not going to be holding up any books, but I'll write the text in. Series where you're never surprised to discover that someone's bi, where the whole universe is set up around being bi and being out, being normal, because that's what we want in the world, isn't it? We want for everyone to feel like how their orientation is normal, and it's okay. And I'm here to tell you that it is normal and it is okay, and you are normal and you are okay. All right, good. Rainbow video, which I'm sorry that was all about covers and not about LGBTQ representation. This is because I kind of have in my head like books and straight books, so I didn't want to I don't know. Anyway, the first and most obvious one, given that I was just talking about it last week for my Rainbow Rex, is The Culture by Anne Banks. It is an advanced society, highly sophisticated. People switch in and out of gender roles as they feel comfortable, and therefore obviously if you fall in love with someone, and therefore obviously the gender isn't as intrinsic as people seem to think it is in our world. It's not as important a facet of people's personality, and for some people it absolutely is. For some people it's absolutely core to their identity, but not for everyone. And so Banks shows a range of gender identities, he shows a range of sexualities, and it's all just normal, and it's just like sometimes it's plot relevant who you're sleeping with, because it always is, but it's not really plot relevant that people are different, because that's just how it works. The next one I'm going to talk about is Wayfarers by Becky Chambers, which is another sci-fi series. It's a lot shorter. It starts with A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and in this book in this series, there's a variety of alien species trying to get along. So obviously the way that aliens interact, or if humans, and the way that different species interact on a sexual level or on a romantic level is going to be different between species. So it's one of those series like The Expanse, where you have a lot of multi-parent families, a lot of poly, and a lot of genderqueer, bi genderqueer, because that's the thing, isn't it? Like, if you're stuck in that strict binary, there's no room to be genderqueer, and I think that's a shame. But there you go. Let's hope for a better world. And that's exactly what Wayfarers has got. It's gone into the far future where people are a bit more relaxed about it. As I say, same with The Expanse, which I've been watching I've only read the first book, but I've been watching the TV series, and there are women in later books. It's amazing. It's not just men, which is great. But I do feel like they could have written more women in from the start. Another book that could do with more women is The Gentleman Bastards by Scott Lynch. I think that the earlier books are more about, are less obviously about a diverse bunch of characters, and the later books get more women, more MB characters, more sexual diversity. But I certainly wouldn't be surprised to meet a bi character or anything really. I kind of reminds me, if you like, The Crows, which has some awesome bi rep in it, by the way. It's a longer adult version. It's a fantasy heist novel with a not particularly nice cast of characters. Sometimes they're nice, but they're not particularly nice. Still on the SF theme, Machineries of Empire by Yoon Ha Lee. Absolutely love this series. It's one of my favourite recent series. Lee is a Korean American. It's about a calendrical war. There's lots and lots of maths that I don't quite understand, but it's still utterly beautiful. Mill SF. There are some prequel short stories which are romances, but the interactions between the characters are really important, as well as the exploding spaceships. So it's got everything really, and a lot of the characters their love life becomes relevant to the exploding spaceships. So it's really important that there's a lot of bi-rep, a lot of queer rep in general in the book, and I absolutely love it. It's really, really beautiful. And if you like Camilla SF at all, I would highly recommend. And also Lee has a children's book coming out in January, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. He's the best. Absolutely the best. So I don't even know why I'm going to bother. No, I am going to bother recommending some fantasy books. I'm going to start some fantasy books. The Craft Sequence by Max Gladstone has some brilliant characters who are queer, trans, non-conforming in some way. It's a book series about magical lawyers in a world in which magic works. It's a series about the legal system in a world where magic works, but it can often be painful, and it's about how the contracts work, how the legal systems work, and you still have to have law, and you still have to have all those kind of business relationships and so on. They're just part of it. Now, I'm not sure that's actually true, but in this universe, Sims universe, that's how it works, and it's quite interesting to see how the world works and how everything gels together. And it has some likeable characters and some unlikable characters, and they don't match up, but they don't. You can't tell by whether they're queer or not, whether they're going to be likeable or not likeable. That's not how it works. It's not relevant. And the last thing I really want to recommend, I absolutely love this series, is the October Day series by Shauna Maguire. Maguire herself is out as bi, and basically all her fairies just find gender irrelevant in romance. It's not obvious from the first couple of books, but as the tales go on and you see people drifting in and out of relationships, it becomes clear that most of the characters, it's kind of irrelevant. Gender of their romantic partners is kind of irrelevant. And it's really nice to watch a sort of background weaving of different types of people, different types of relationships, with the actual plot laid over the top, which is what I'm talking about really, is that I want background characters, I want main characters, I want it not to be like we're bi because you have to be bi. I want it just to be like a thing that's normal and that happens naturally, because in my experience that's how the world works, and I really hope that it can be how the world works for everyone. Thank you for watching this video. If you've got any thoughts, really, as always, would like to hear them. If you'd like more queer literature recs, then please let me know. I'll see you soon. But you won't see me, because it'll be Bi Invisibility 364 days again. Okay? Bye!